What is up everyone, welcome back to another video here on my channel. Today we are trying to dive into something that I don't really do often, and that is an F1 career mode.
Let's do this for real. Sorry it took so long. You know what these legal types are like? Yes sir, no sir, here's 80 pages of needless jargon, sir. Anyway, believe it or not, this is my excited face. Come on, let me show you what we've got. So, all the usual stuff, merchandising, likeness, blah blah blah, but the really juicy stuff is their expectation of you. They need you to challenge yourself all season, be the best you can be, dominate your teammate, become a legend. All that jazz. Now, it's over to you. Okay, here we are. It's contract time. The team are expecting you to improve as your career evolves. And so am I. Here, we will be setting you a contractual target with the team, so that this progress can be tracked by both parties. Here, you can view your current ratings with your overall rating, or RTG, shown at the top. This is the value that will be used to set your contract target. In order to improve this, you'll need to show your worth at each race weekend. Your current rating has been used as a starting point. Move this slider to set your target for next season. A higher target requires consistently good results at each race weekend, but you'll get more recognition when you sign. Here you can view your recognition with the team. The higher the target you set yourself, the more recognition you will earn when you sign. More recognition equals more car development. More car development makes car go fast. You know the drill. Remember, if you fail to meet that target, you will lose this recognition bonus, so don't bite off more than you can chew. You can see some basic information on the contract, as well as the number of seasons your contract will last. After this season concludes, you may be offered longer contracts, if the team thinks you deserve one. A longer contract will give another recognition bonus when you sign. There's a few other points for us to go over, but we can leave those until you're settled. I'll leave you to finalize your terms.
And here we are about to sign our first contract with the Williams F1 team. Obviously here we've got to choose our target rating for the end of the year. I believe we can get 70, and it's just 1 year, and we have signed it, so we are now on our first team in our new F1 career. So we will drive the Williams for our rookie season, so we will see how that goes in the long run and also the short run. Here we are now at our mansion, very nicely owned. We've got our trophy cabinet, and here we have our couch, and eventually we will get to meet the driver himself.
Before we gear up for the first race this season, a couple of things. Throughout your career, you get a lot of important information. Keep an eye on this tab in each race to see that you're consistent. We also have a wonderful team of supporters. Specialists that will be dedicating some of their time to help us. When you have a moment, we should go and get introduced. They don't bite, I promise. Driver details contains all the important information for your accolades, contracts, rights, wages, and driver ratings. Keep an eye on it throughout the season.
Hi mate, Mark here. I'm your engineer for the season ahead, and I'm absolutely buzzing to be working with you. When you're ready, come and see me over in R&D, and we can chat about the development of the car.
And here we have the driver. It is Ollie Hornby, and we are going to be trying to take on our first season in what is predicted to be a pretty slow car. Carlos Sainz is going to be our teammate, so Albon's results really didn't improve enough, so I managed to get in to replace him. And now, before we do anything else, we now need to go on to the grid walk. Here we are now at the workshop. This is where we are going to be spending a majority of our time during the race weekends at the track. And we are here for round 1 at the Australian Grand Prix. We have a 360-minute practice session. We are going for full quality and a 50% race. So we've got the weather forecast as well. It's expected to be dry all the way through, which is always a bonus. We have our manufacturing expert, but now really all we've got left to do is go to the track.
The long wait is over. This is it, a brand new season. And before the show gets well and truly underway, we've got the all-important matter of a free practice session. It's great to be back.
Okay, mate, this is the first running of the real car. Now, I know it's a big ask, but let's get some useful data and get you used to how the practice sessions work. Let's start the season as we mean to go on, eh? I know we can have a great year, so let's go.
Here we are now on track for our very first practice session. We are trying to ace our race pace, as unfortunately I shoot off the track at turn 1. But this is mainly learning about the battery management while staying above an optimal race pace. In our Williams, we are running the normal camera settings that I released in a previous video earlier in the week, but right now we're just trying to drive above our targeted time, which, as you can see on the right side of our screen, in a 1 minute 22.773. Driving the Williams, I have made custom setups for this, so I'm going to try and use them as much as possible. And I'm not going to be saving them, and I will be releasing them as seasons go on, and also when I do hot laps. But coming through the fast left right, I'm just about getting it nailed down the back straight. I'm out of VRS, but I'm going to have a little bit of lift into turn 11, I believe it is. No, turn 10, sorry, before burning the battery a little bit, having a small slight lift as I hit the inside curb and into the final corner now. We do have another rear lock, but really just keeping it as clean as possible, which I have done, and up to line we are going to do a 1 minute 20.617, I believe that said. I can't really read it properly, but we have completed it. So now we are just going to do the final 2 laps of the entire project, just to A, learn the track myself, and B, to get as many stars as possible, because if I can get as many as them, then it'll go all pretty well. This track for me has never really been perfect. I've done it many times before in the past, especially on previous F1 games, but right now it's a bit more of a trying to get as much content out as possible. And if I do stuff like this, it's videos every couple of days, and it just tries to boost my fan base, which I would love to see. Also, the races that will follow, a majority of that are going to be pre-recorded. I'm going to try to record multiple on one day, but apart from that, I just want to try to get it out consistently. Our new target time is a 1:23.117 this time, as we come around the final corner once again, before having another lift and locking up again, but this time actually getting the apex, and then hitting the inside curve perfectly and just burning up to line for the 4th time now in the session. If we do a 20.539, and now we're going for one last attempt. Our tyres are pretty burnt now because I was still full pushing on them, considering I wasn't trying my hardest to, and it just shows as we have a huge snap of the rear there, and it shows that the mediums might not be the greatest every time, so I will try start on something different before we have another little bit of a wobble. Now next up is our tyre management. This is trying to get as the most consistent average wear as possible, as we do get one of the development boosts. We are still using the same medium tires we had before. We are currently P1 in the session, which feels illegal, but it doesn't matter too much as we are screaming up towards the Sector 3 chicane now. As we have a slight little lift, cutting it quite sharply, trying to not burn the tyres as much. We are high green right now, we are very soon to be in low purple, but we are just creeping down a little bit before we have a monstrous lift into the corner and still losing quite a bit. So this is where we are going to have a big gainer. It's through this corner. We're going to lift a monstrous amount to try and just maximise the amount of R&D points we can get. And we are once again conservative through the entirety of the final sector. And up to the line, we are going to go purple on our task and get it done within the single lap, which is really good to be fair. And finally, it is qualifying. So we are now going for a lap, just trying to push as hard as we can. We're still in the practice session, we're still on the soft. And our time was 120.692, which we look like we are going to get as we bolt up towards the final corner and down the main straight. Now we are going to get a 118.411, which is actually targeted to be P1. So that is a very strong lap that I am very happy of. And now it is time for qualifying. Here we are now in qualifying. We are trying to just get through Q1. There are 22 cars in this and 6 will get eliminated on our opening lap. We lift and have a break, but Kimi Antonelli is just parked on the apex of turn 1 and we just steamroll into the back of him. I was unaware if he had damage, but I had damage from wing, so however I had to just peel back into pit lane, and I am going to just cut to my next lap now. And now we are here for our first proper attempt in Q1. We just missed the apex of turn 1 unfortunately, but however our aim at the moment is just to get a lap on the board, because if we can't, we are in a little bit of trouble. Having a slight lift into turn 3 as always though. Our tyres are the same ones we started our previous lap on, so they have got a bit of wear in them already, but at the same time right now we just want to get a lap done and dusted. As we go into non for this next set corner before medium and burning a little bit now to get our speed up. Now time for the back straight, which is very doable, and we are yoinking it towards turn the chicane. We are currently green, which isn't terrible, but at the same time right now is not what we need. We need to be at least purple in a sector, otherwise we might have a bit of a risk. But into the next corner we lock up and just go straight on into the gravel. So this is lap ruin. We are going to continue to finish it however, because we just need to get a lap on the board. It doesn't matter what kind of lap. Into the final corners we miss the apex completely, and now we floor it up to the line and onto the main straight. We burn the battery, we're burning it all and everything we can, and we end up doing a 119.704, which is what I can see. But we are not quitters, as we are now stayed out on the same tyres, pushing as hard as we can. We are so low on fuel, but we are burning everything now. We are up by a lot of time, and we end up going into P5 with a lap which is much more presentable. I believe it was an 18.2, which definitely will fit right into there for Q2, which we have done very comfortably. We stayed where we were with about 6/10 behind Charles Leclerc, who set a 17.649. We actually set a 18.239. So we're now going to steamroll on to Q2, which has been hit with a bit of a problem already, as we've got reliability problems, which will be fixed pretty soon. However, it's not ideal right now. However, we don't take it like it's nothing, as we get back out with about 11 minutes left in session to start our first lap of Q2. And right now, we are just trying to go all in. We're already out of sync with the drivers. So if we push as hard as we can, we'll be able to catch up. We just absolutely fly past the apex of turn 3 before nailing turn 4 and pushing as hard as we can on the exit of 5, and now bolting towards turn 7 at the turn 6 at an incredible speed. We are purple sector 1 with a 29.5, I believe it was. I might be wrong. I'm sorry if I am wrong. However, that doesn't matter as we just continue to steamroll down toward the very fast chicane, flicking down 7 gear, going into none. We lift early. We are green in sector 2. That could be because we've lifted early, but it doesn't matter. We are on the battery, immediately out of the exit of the chicane. Before going down, we are lifting and just nailing the apex. We are on the outside curve a little bit, which might hamper our exit a bit. But right now, it's a very good lap. It is very much worthy of going to P1 as we actually get the apex for once. Maybe miss it just a little bit. And now up to the line. We are going to slot all our battery onto a machine, and we're just going to fly up to P1 ahead of Hamilton with a 17.406. Which once again is enough to go into Q3 now as Carlos Sainz makes it a double Williams top 3 as Lando Norris ended up topping the session from me, Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Verstappen, Ocon correcting for Haas, Oscar Piastri, Carlos Sainz, Fernando Alonso and George Russell, with Andrea Kimi Antonelli unfortunately being knocked out of the session, with Lance Stroll, Valtteri Bottas and Franco Colapinto, as well as 2 others which I can't remember from my top of my head. And now we are in Q3. We are now in Sector 3 at the moment. We are just going to be storming around. We are flat, essentially, all the way through to the final 2 corners, where we have a little lift. We actually get the apex properly at the time, before storming it up to the line, burning every last bit of our battery, before getting to the line and doing a 17.396, which temporarily puts us into P1 as people come across the line to finish their laps. And we fell down to 3rd place, but now I'm just going to let you follow along for my final lap of Q3 up towards the start finish rate, and I will go quiet now. Enjoy what is a very strong lap.
Seconds left in the session. Three minutes to go. Fantastic, you've got pole position.
With qualifying complete, all that remains now is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then. It's a new day, a new dawn, a new era for Formula One. This is the 2026 World Championship. New regulations, new cars, new fuels, new drivers. Ladies and gentlemen, let's ride. We go racing today then in the state of Victoria, where the drivers have 14 corners and 3.28 miles to navigate at an average lap speed of around 120 miles per hour. The close proximity of the barriers make accidents inevitable, and recent history shows us that a safety car is not at all out of the question. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Hollywood lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Piastri, Norris, Charles Leclerc and Sainz, Verstappen, Alonso, Ocon and Andrea Kimi Antonelli, Stroll, Bottas, Franco Colapinto and Russell, Bortoletto, Hadja, Pierre Gasly and Ollie Behrman, Lawson, Hulkenberg, Perez and Arvid Lindblad rounds off the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Alongside me here in the commentary box today, former racing driver extraordinaire Naomi Schiff. As much as I like testing, and I do love testing, and I've really enjoyed the build-up here and all the speculation, I really want to see some action. And finally today, we get some proper action on the track.
This is always such an exciting time in the season. First of all, it's the first time they'll be racing their new cars. So that's always an exciting thing for drivers to look forward to. But also, they've had a long time off during the winter break. So it's about dusting the cobwebs off, getting the rust off of their bones, and really getting their elbows out there and having some fun.
Right, mate, excellent start to the season throughout qualifying yesterday, but that's only half of it. I need to convert that pole into a win to make it really count.
And here we are now for the formation lap. We managed to steal pole, but we're just going to quickly skip the formation lap. And we are just going to basically, essentially, line straight up onto the grid for the season opener. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, now 5 red lights on. They're off. We're off. And it's an okay start as we have a lot of wheel spin. And we are under pressure from Lewis Hamilton. And he's just about sneaked ahead going into turn 1. But we are going to try our best to try storm back path. We are going to pull alongside into turn 3, but we are going to opt to stay behind as we brake quite late. We just tap him a little bit. I think we had a little bit of contact from behind, but we stay behind him going into turn 5 as we are bolting it now down toward the end of sector 1. Hamilton is now the new race leader as we go on to now the extraordinarily long back straight for the first time this race, as we are going to peel to his right side. Are we going to burn a little bit of battery? No, we're not. We're going to stay behind. We're going to now start burning the battery, and we're going to storm around the outside of him, down towards now, which the very fast chicane. He's going to snip us a little bit, but we're going to go round the outside, and we take back the lead. And we get back what we should have had going to turn 1, but instead going into turn 10, as we're going to have a little bit of a lift and a break now, as Lando Norris has overtaken Hamilton. He's on the medium tyre, so he is going to be our ultimate threat going into now what is essentially going to be lap 2. We are trying our best to just go as slow as possible. We also need to burn a little bit of fuel at the same time, so we're going to burn not much battery. We're going to start burning now. Lando Norris is going to pull to our right. He's going to head into turn 1 leading, but he's going to brake check us, and we've got damage on our front left end plate, which is not what we would like. So we are going to try our best to try and manage that. We're going to miss the apex, which is now with damage not the most ideal thing. So now we just need to manage with what we've got. We need to be very careful to not get even more damage. However, what we just need to do now is survive. We are in a long race. This is a 29 lap race around the Albert Street circuit, and we cannot afford to make any crucial mistakes. Our teammate Carlos Sainz currently sits in 4th position, which is not perfectly ideal for us, as we're just going to coast around the chicane and go wide a little bit. That is what's going to happen with our damage, however, but we're just going to have to live with it, which, to be fair, is not the nicest thing to do, because we just want to get on with it, and getting on with it means going. But Lando Norris is going to continue to stay with us, however, because we are not going to lose him, essentially. He's going to try to stay as close as possible to us, otherwise we are in a world of trouble. But until then, really, we just need to try and manage. He's going to come at us again with the overtake mode now this time. Into turn 1, he's going to have a little bit of a lift. We are going to be more conservative. He's actually cut the inside of the corner, which should be a track limit validation. And our wheel has decided not to upshift. That was just a problematic wheel issue, as we are falling down into 3rd place. We're going to go for a run on Carlos Sainz. This is allowing Lando Norris to just jolt away a little bit. And we, if we want to try and win this race, or at least get a good result, we cannot let that happen. So we need to just storm to the back of him now, because we cannot afford to lose any more positions. Otherwise, we are going to be screwed over, because our car is actually the third slowest car, but we've got Carlos Sainz and myself in podium positions, as we're going to storm up to the back of Lando Norris and fly around us outside. Once again, going into the chicane, we are going to lift and lead. Now, as Lando Norris is going to continue to stay close to us, though, he might go for an attack again back on us into turn 10 or 11, and he's going to just breeze past. He's not going to have a lock-up or anything, so that is his position confirmed. As we continue to follow him, going through the swooping right-hander into the final penultimate corner, so we're just going to try and lift them through without locking up as much as possible, which will ruin these hard tyres, because we just want to go to the end with no issue, not screw ourselves over in the opening round. So we, as long as we don't get dropped by Lando Norris, are okay. So we are going to do as much Lyco as possible, because we need to get back that fuel that we lost by A, the wheel spin, and B, just pushing too hard. We're going to try to attack Lando Norris. We're going to pull to the outside. We are going to stay behind him, however, round turn 4 and turn 5 now, as we are just trying to be careful as possible, considering we've got our damage, and we are just going to sit behind for a little bit longer before we get back onto the back straight once again. And we are going to burn the battery, actually, going side by side with him once again into the chicane. We are going to lift very early and do what we did to Lewis Hamilton on the opening lap and just swoop around the outside once again. And Lando Norris has lost a position again. So we have checked out as Hamilton moved past Carlos Sainz, as we are going to have a little bit of a lock-up, and Lando Norris is going to stay behind us, but he's going to pull side by side, actually, as we're going to have to go into 4th gear, and he's still there. He's had a huge snapper next to us, and we're going to pull out to get A, the overtake mode, and B, so we don't screw ourselves over. We managed to get back all our battery, however, which is a bonus, so we're just going to try and stay with him to be as conservative as possible. We're actually going to pull to within into turn 1. We are going to have a little bit of a lock-up flick into the corner, actually, to try and make the corner, which we have done very well. And now we just need to try and get on with it, otherwise we are in a water. So we'd actually come back at us on our inside. We're going to just lock up and go straight on into turn 3, and Lewis Hamilton is back in front of us like he was on lap 1. We are now down to 3rd place, which is the lowest we have been all race so far, as Russell gets past Carlos Sainz, apology. So we need to get past Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris as soon as possible, because that Mercedes is the fastest car at the moment. We are going to pull to the left side of Lewis Hamilton. He starts flashing. Lando Norris is currently also flashing. Are we going to get 2 in 1? We are not, I believe. We are going to stay behind, lift early, get as much battery back as possible before exiting chicane and just blasting ourselves. As we are going to attack Lando Norris into the corner. We're going to pull to the outside. Are we going to go for anything snappy? We're not. We're going to flick around the outside of him, and that is us back into the lead once again on lap 5 after losing it previously in the lap to Lando Norris. We have said that name a lot this race, as we are just going to try and manage our own race now. We just need to go, because them mediums are going to be in a little bit of trouble now, and it's now the hard time to shine as we go on to lap 6 of this 29 lap race. And we are still trying to get back as much battery as possible after we burn it to get past Lando. We have actually gone off the track at turn 1. We have gotten ourselves our first warning of the race, which is not ideal at all, as we are going to continue lifting into turn 3. And now I think it's time where we realise we just need to get on with it. So we are just going to go. We are going to burn every single last bit of battery, I feel like, to just get past all of them. We do improve in sector 1, however, which is a bonus. And now we cut to lap 9. We pulled 3.5 seconds on them in just them 2 laps. And we just trying to get ourselves to lap 11, which was when we were planning on making our first of 2 pit stops. However, that doesn't matter right now. What matters right now is just holding on. But into turn 5 we have a huge time snapper, and we get rear wing damage and partial front wing damage as we pull back onto track. Lando Norris pass, but Oscar Piastri rams our rear end at an incredible rate of speed. We have increased our rear wing damage, and now we have spun again our race. After being in the lead, we have fallen down to 11th place as the virtual safety car comes out for our crash. And now it's the end of the lap. We have pitted. We are going to change our front wing. Carlos Sainz also came in. He was on the medium tyre, so it was his time to really come in and box. And we are going to get held up a little bit. However, with the amount of damage, it's not that much the end of the world. As we get our front wing changed, it already had a little bit of damage from this second lap from Lando Norris. We have a 6.3 second pit stop, which is quite strong, considering we also got held. So we gained a bit of time on pit exit. Everything feels fine. Our rear end isn't too snappy, but where we feel like it all goes wrong now is into turn 1, as we are very, very loose. It feels like we are already running a pretty low rear wing. Into turn 3, however, you are going to see where everything goes. We are at incredible speed, and we just spin completely overcorrect, and we are in the gravel, exactly where Fernando Alonso and Esteban Gutierrez had their crash 10 years ago. So we know that this race is over. We are just going to try bring it home into the pit lane, otherwise we're going to risk damaging our car even more. As where we crashed the previous lap, we are still sliding, and it's going to continue to just be worse as we are so loose. And I didn't notice at the time, my speed just shot up at a scary speed to the point where we were just screwed. And I am in non-battery at the moment, and we are still storming up, so we had broken our rear wing completely. I actually didn't know how bad the damage was with Oscar, and here we go again. We are sideways into the fast chicane, and everyone else is rounding the final couple corners now, and also currently nearly half a lap ahead of us. But we just decided to call it a day, as we have one moment of just bring it home carefully before we completely lose everything. And we're just going round and we lose the rear once more. It's very hard to manage, and we just know it's time to call it a day and retire. So we pull into the pit lane, very wibbly, and we decide to call it a day there.
And as we've said so many times in the past, the checkered flag is out for our winner, Lewis Hamilton.
And to get a victory at the first race of the season, this might be a sign of things to come. One thing's for sure is that this performance will be giving the team and the driver relief and confidence going into the rest of the season.
From lights out to the checkered flag, this is what they're racing for. It's points and a trip to the podium. It's a familiar sight in Formula One, and here it is once again. Lewis Hamilton, with the trophy held high, celebrating a masterful victory.
And that is it. Lewis Hamilton ended up winning the opening round of the 2026 season, with Lando Norris and George Russell finished off the podium. Fortunately, Carlos Sainz, despite being in a podium position for a little bit of the race, falls down to P9, still bringing home some very crucial points. But that is really it for this opening round. There will be more videos within the next month. I'm going to try to get this entire thing done in a month, but there was no other retirements, only Perez got lapped, but that's the opening round gone. I will see you in round 2 around China, but until then, goodbye.